Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the final episode of Tsukihime. Last time we finished Kahaku's route, we got her one single ending, her true ending. And that was the final ending that we had left. And as we can go into the ending list menu, we have every single ending. Both Arc's route, Tsukihime, Moon at Dawn, Ciel's route, her true ending, Daylight Blue, and Sun, her good ending, Akia's endings, Warm Afternoon Nap and Distant Reed Warbler, Hisui's endings, Midday Moon and Dreams of Sunshine, and Kahaku's ending, Dreams of Sunshine. Never occurred to me that those have the same name. Interesting. And by doing that, by getting every ending, you unlock Eclipse, the ending of Tsukihime, not of any heroine's route, but of the story itself. Well, in the story itself, I guess if you don't count Kagetsu Toya in the mix, then it'd be kind of weird there. But that's not important right now. Because now, after taking a drink, tasty, we will be starting Eclipse. Suddenly, I wake up. A vast night. In the midst of a grassy field that extends as far as the eye can see, I stare blankly at the moon. There is no one else here. No sign of human presence, no sounds from any animals. Maybe it's because I've pushed myself too hard these past couple of days. I just wanted to lie down and be alone, but it seems I fell asleep. It was a bright darkness, probably because the moon is hanging so low. The grassy field that looked like a black sea last night is bright, like some sort of stage. A clearing illuminated by sharp moonlight. I thought it was like a theater somewhere, only there are no curtains around. This field that sweeps far and wide is devoid of any curtains of trees, nor is there an audience or stage crew. There's nothing here. The only things here are the moonlight and the white darkness. The wind does not blow, and the grass does not even sway. How quiet. I laugh quietly as it feels like all the commotion until yesterday was just a joke. No, if you talk about jokes, then my life until now was so happy that, looking back at it, it seems like it was just an illusion. A lot of things have happened. There were a lot of amazing things that occurred, and my life changed pace quite often. The expected and the unexpected. Everything was illusory. Looking back, it seems that no matter how trivial things seemed, all those coincidences built on each other. The days were only a repetition of each other, but no 2 days were quite the same. Then, that means perhaps each and every one of them was an irreplaceable moment I can never return to. I recall many things that happened. The memories are so nostalgic it makes me smile. Just the thought of the new experiences awaiting me in the future, different from those of my past, make me dizzy. Truly, a mix of emotions. Happiness, excitement, and enough worries to give me a headache. My heart beats loudly once. What comes after is my usual anemia. The dizziness continues for a while, but eventually disappears. Even though the wound on my chest healed, my anemia didn't go away. It seems like my fragile health wasn't caused by the wound on my chest alone. Well, of course, being able to perceive the shape of death means I stand much closer to death than others. To be honest, I never thought about living a long life like ordinary people. Thump. The sound of my beating heart. It's not like me to think of this, but I wonder just how long I can keep running through time. The conclusion is rather uninteresting, because even if it stops tomorrow or in a few decades, still. Hey, you! It's dangerous just lying around like that. And I hear a familiar voice when I have forgotten, actually, to pull back the curtain a little bit. I knew that this was here, and I knew I should have remembered her voice or gone back and listened or something. Nope, forgotten. What do you mean, You have an awful lot of free time on your hands if you can just sleep around here in the middle of the night. I was this close to kicking you, so you better watch out. She says this grumpily while carrying a trunk in one hand. Oh? Kicked? By who? I lift myself up. Isn't it obvious, stupid? You and I are the only ones here, so who else could it be but me? She declares this confidently as she folds her arms. Stifling laughter spilling out of me, I gaze up at her and the moon. I can't believe it. I somehow felt that I'd meet you, but I didn't think that day would be today. What a coincidence. I didn't expect to see you here either. I heard you were here, but we never did meet up, did we? So I was thinking that it was our fate this time not to meet. Although, if we did see each other, it would have caused trouble, right? Right. I am a member of the association after all. We're not quite on good terms with the church. She laughs without any hint of guilt. It really is hard holding back my laughter. It makes me happy that this person hasn't changed one bit since that day we met. And since I ran out of things to do, I was going to leave here tomorrow. See, this incident was partially my fault, you know. So I stopped by here for a final check, and I almost ended up kicking some ordinary person. Then we faded to meet. To be honest, I felt we would meet up again. I smile. You're right. I welcome this sort of fate. She flashes me an identical smile in return. Long time no see. You've grown up, Shiki. Yeah. You seem to be doing well too, Sensei. Returning her plain greeting, I look back up at Sensei with serious eyes. We sit in the field of grass and talk. We talk about senseless things just like the old days. It was only briefly that we talked about what had happened and what we were going to do in the future. It's about time. I don't plan on staying here long. I'm leaving before dawn, so we'll have to part here. Saying that, Sensei stands up. I try to stand up with her, but I collapse. Shiki? I can hear her voice. I take a few deep breaths and stand back up. Dang. Seems like no sleep or rest until last night just hit me. Looks like it. That dizziness is your biggest weakness. You don't look like you have any injuries. Is your body alright? Yeah, thanks. Unlike you, I have a normal body. If you say so. She glances at me meaningfully, then looks directly into my eyes. Shiki, you know you're not going to last much longer. Her clear words. surprised. It's not that I'm surprised by her words, but rather, I never thought she would say them. Well, yeah, I kinda know about it already. Is that so? You seem pretty calm. Even now, you strain your body over something that has nothing to do with you. I would have a hard time believing it, but are you really not afraid of dying? She stares at me, somewhat peeved. No way. I think I'm more afraid of death than most people. But that's something in the future. It may be tomorrow or next year, but I can't think about the future too much. I can't think about the future too much. I prioritize what I want to be doing now. I see. So you can see your own death as well. That's why you're more afraid of death than others. That makes sense. Even for me, I'd be shivering if I could see the 13 steps to the gallows. No, it's not like that. It's not like I can clearly sense when I'll die. It's almost the same thing. Let's see, can I ask you something for reference? You ended up with a body weaker than those of others. Yeah, it would be only natural to curse it and fear for your life. Hey, Shiki, don't you find it difficult living with such a body? Sensei looks at me openly, yet with unreadable eyes. Those are the eyes of a magus, her side of which I'm not too familiar with. Is that right? You can no longer have normal happiness like everyone else. As long as you have that body of yours, all that awaits is suffering. That may be so, but I think it's not that bad. But I'm probably happy, because up until now was a lot of fun. So it'll probably be fun in the future too. And the sound of her gasping. With a large sigh, she changes back to her usual self. Shiki. She seems sad as she calls my name. To be honest, I do feel some regret. I feel like I said something to you that I shouldn't have back then. I look straight into her eyes. It's different from before. Back then I had to look up to see her eyes, but now she is looking up into mine. God doesn't give excessive power without reason, and I told you that if you have that power, then there has to be some meaning to it. But, you know, it's up to the individual to decide what that meaning may be. There is no room for anyone else, especially something as ambiguous as a god, to interfere. So it would have been alright if you did nothing. Even if you denied those eyes of yours and did nothing, it still would have been alright. I'm regretting my words because I could have led a normal life more suitable for you, as Shiki. Sensei, didn't I tell you earlier that you should live your life with an honest heart? You really did, Shiki. But that's something difficult to do. It would have been easier for you to stray from your path a little because your eyes draw you to disaster. Isn't it ironic that a killer more skilled than anyone else also hates killing more than anyone else? If you lived a normal life or had your heart deviated from the true path, you wouldn't have had to go through so much pain. Yeah, that may be true now that you mention it. If I gave up, it would have been a little easier. But that has no meaning. It would have only made things a little easier to start out with. I never thought of it as particularly painful. You have the wrong ideas, Sensei. Everything I did because I wanted to. It's not like I'm a saint or anything. I like myself just the way I am. That's why I was glad that you told me back then to become an adult by living just the way I was. Sensei, I don't regret anything, so there's nothing for you to regret about, and there's no reason for you to regret anything either. I really feel that from the bottom of my heart, and I smile at her. As if dazzled by a radiant light, she narrows her eyes, then closes them briefly. I see. Man, It seems you really have become a wonderful young fellow. Her hand reaches for her trunk. Yeah, you're fine just the way you are, Shiki. My world is full of devious individuals, so associating with someone like you balances things out. It might be hard on you, but if you don't mind, then I guess it's alright. With a "see ya," Sensei turns her back to me. I can't stop her, and there's no reason to. I can feel that this really is the last time. All I can remember is the one thing I forgot to say. That day, in an ocean of grass, an important friend who had spoken with me, who is just about to disappear. There's no wind. The grass does not sway, and the only thing that changes is her figure, who gets farther away. She didn't turn around suddenly back then, and she won't now. Sensei. I call out to stop her. She halts in her tracks. What? She doesn't turn around. Only her voice drifts to me. I know what I must say. The words I've always wanted to say. It's just that if I say these words, I really won't be able to see her ever again. But still, I have to say them. She told me, all I'm saying is live true to yourself and become a man in the manner that you think is right. She also told me that it is important to accept my mistakes and to be able to apologize for them. That's why I have to say it. Thank you. I'm glad I met you, Sensei. That's what I felt as a child. Those words were the ones from the bottom of my heart that I once could not say, because I was filled with the sadness of parting. From behind, it seems Sensei is surprised. She stands there, lowers her head, and turns towards me with her usual expression. Take care, Shiki. Let's meet again if we're fated to do so. She says this as if it was nothing, and the wind suddenly gusts. Swoosh! It rustles through the swaying grass, and the moonlight's light disappears. After that, as if abducted by the wind, she disappears. For some strange reason, I'm not shedding any tears. I feel sad, and I don't want to part. But not shedding tears also means that I've grown up since then. The grassy field becomes silent once more. Gazing up, it looks like the moon is about to vanish from the sky. All things passed by, just like the moon disappearing. And yet, after a long time, there may be the chance to meet again. And so, tonight's moon disappears. Well then, I close my eyes just once, as if lowering the curtain. In the sky, dawn is drawing closer. Just like the moon that has fallen, for the time being, the curtains are lowered on the long story for Tono Shiki. The heavens soar high above. I look up while embraced by the clear, brisk night air. All things are uncertain, just like a waking dream. The past is all an illusion. It doesn't leave behind a tangible form, and even the most vivid memories are really just transient. Yet, I believe that the moon's image will never fade away. Even that is fragile. Even though I know it will end one day, I don't care. The memories continue on. I'm sure that even the end will be a happy one. The lunar eclipse is far away. Everyone races through their remaining time and passes on. And that was Eclipse. That is basically everything that this visual novel has to offer. We haven't seen every scene. There are some scenes that it doesn't matter which option you choose. It doesn't change much, just a tiny scene here or there. But we've seen most of them, and we've seen all but one, maybe two. I know for a fact one, but it might be two. I don't remember for sure. Bad end. And the only one... No, it would be two, I guess, because I think there was one with Sachin or something. I don't remember. But anyway, this was Tsukihime. This was enjoyable for me to get out of my comfort zone and to talk into a microphone and talk to people on the internet. You know, that whole thing. Very, very, very difficult for me. But I did it anyway. And I hope to continue doing it, especially now that Tsukihime is done. I'm going to step further outside of my comfort zone, and instead of doing a visual novel, I'm going to play an RPG, Final Fantasy I, as a matter of fact. And, you know, I'm going to have to talk more frequently because I can't just rely on reading text, so that should be interesting for me. Still not 100% sure how I'm going to handle that, but I think I'll figure it out. At least I'm going to try. I'm going to try my hardest, and if I can do it, I will be very, very happy. But if not, then I know my limitations, and that's good too. It's good to know your limitations. So, I know it's not a visual novel, and I hope you didn't just come here just to see visual novels, but although I can't say that too much because, you know, all I've done is visual novels other than a single update video. But next time I start an RPG, which is one of my favorite genres of video games. Actually, that's not true. RPGs are my absolute favorite genre of video games. I can't think of one that I like more, as a matter of fact. And one of my favorite video game series of all time, the Final Fantasy series. And why I'm starting with one is because I want to be able to eventually play later ones, like 6 or 7 or 9, and, you know, those are some of my favorite games of all time. 10 is as well, as is 12, and I like 12 a lot. I liked 15 a decent amount too, although I haven't played it since it was new. But I don't know if I'm going to do those. I don't know what my cutoff is going to be for old versus new. But, I'm rambling, I'm stalling. I hope you'll continue to watch whatever I do, and I am going to do more visual novels. Trust me. I even have some that I have in mind that I've finished reading, and I am going to do. I have one that I'm reading currently that I'm definitely going to do. I don't know how soon, but I know after I finish reading it, I'm going, and I do the other things that I have planned for the year, I'm definitely going to play it. And there are a couple of visual novels that I have downloaded and even installed in in one or two cases, that I absolutely want to play, but I just want to read them on my own first before I do it on the channel. I don't want to go into visual novels blind. It's not my style. At least it isn't at the moment. But that might change. Don't know. So I hope you'll join me next time with drink in hand, at least on my end. And if you don't drink, that's fine. If you want to come share a drink with me, be it water, alcohol, soda, juice, coffee, tea, smoothie, melted ice cream, whatever you want to drink, whatever you prefer, I hope you come and join me in the next adventure that we have, that this channel has. But until then, I've been Augustus. Goodbye and good night.